And you're gonna have myself, Phil Gerbyshak, and this week's guest is Douglas Carr. And we're inching closer to episode 200. We've been doing this for quite a number of years. It's something I really love doing, and actually, I think we probably actually may have reached 200 at some point. We did take a few weeks off when we first were getting started with live video. And I got to say, live video, it's something that I really love. I'm going to pop on and say a quick hello. Hey, guys, how you doing? We have a great show for you this week. We're going to be talking about Facebook Live. Facebook actually has some new live video updates that you absolutely need to pay attention to. They also have updates for Instagram this week. So we got Facebook, we got Instagram. Obviously, people are also saying, hey, they want to break Facebook up because they think it's becoming a bit of a monopoly. We got updates from YouTube and maybe a couple of more. But I'm going to just say a quick hello. Hey, guys. And I'm going to bring on Phil. Phil, how you doing this week?
What's up, Christian? We got lots of good stuff to talk about, man. I'm doing great. I'm in Orlando. StreamYard works from your phone, folks. So if you're struggling with your hotel wireless, go on your own little LTE connection, and you too can still go live, which was not possible with most of the other tools we've had, which makes me really love StreamYard even more. We had Gage on a couple episodes ago. So if you're thinking I need a solution live, go for StreamYard on your mobile.
And go to socialchefs.com/go/StreamYard. That'll actually get you, that'll be our referral link. But basically, if you go there, definitely check it out. It is a fantastic platform. I can't say enough, honestly, about StreamYard. It's how I add all of these background graphics that we have. We bring up banners, for instance, during the show. But of course, I think it really also comes down to just our writing and our script writing, basically, Phil. Being able to, put together a show and just have it scripted out. So I want to thank everybody for watching with us this week. If you're on our Facebook page, our Social Chefs, facebook.com/socialchefs. Also, my personal Facebook page, as well as over on YouTube. But just do us a favor, say a quick hello. If you want to invite your friends, either tag them, start a Facebook watch party by clicking on the ... option, hit the share button. There's lots of things that you could do to invite people. We got a lot of great feedback last week. A lot of people were really excited about the show, having stumbled upon it. So I'm excited, and I want to talk about this updates as well. So I'm going to bring on our guest, Douglas Carr. Phil's going to do a quick intro, and we're going to get going.
Yeah. So Doug is a superstar, man. Doug is one of the guys I started following, 15 years ago, I think, on the internet, and finally met last year. We spoke at the same event, of course, in all places, Sioux Falls, South Dakota. So Doug is a digital marketing and tech genius. He served in the Navy, served our country, and is a great guy. And Doug, you look fantastic, buddy. For those of you who haven't followed Doug for a while, he's lost a bunch of weight and he looks even better than ever. So we're so glad you're here, Doug.
Man, you set the expectations high. You got to lower those. This is the beginning of the show.
Yeah. Doug just signed up for Twitter yesterday and was curious what the flock is all about, this Instaface snap. He isn't really sure. And when it comes to technology, Doug puts the I in IT. Is that better?
Perfect.
Excellent. So the first intro was more true. But really, Doug, you are a luminary to me, buddy. You're someone that I look up to and someone that I'm just honored to call my friend. So
I appreciate it, and likewise too. We've had a great relationship online over the years. So it was great to speak with you too. We did an incredible event out there. So follow Phil, follow me, and meet us in South Dakota. I'm sure we'll be back again sometime.
Yeah, let's hope so. Maybe we can even bring Christian along for the fun.
Absolutely.
So I think I'm good to go, Phil.
Awesome.
Where do y'all want to tackle this week? Because we got a lot.
Well, I firmly believe that connection starts with happy birthday, and Facebook screwing with my birthdays makes me kind of angry, actually, because I miss people's birthdays now, because now I have to search for them. I get one notification, and then on my calendar now, I don't get to see it. So kind of annoying, but what do? They force us to now wish people a happy birthday in our own story. I don't know if you've seen this, but this is fascinating. Now they want me to privately tell only 13 people that it's your birthday, Doug, instead of everybody. What's the deal, dude? Are you seeing this too, Doug, or is this just me and Christian seeing
No,
this?
I noticed it. I noticed that they're making basically a card that combines your photos or events that you've been to, and then you can either post it on their wall or send it as messenger.
Oh, even crappier than that, though. Even worse than that. What they're talking about is now it says in the listing of the 9 people whose birthdays it is today, it says tag them in your own story. Here's the bigger one, right? So worse than the video that nobody watches. Now it's in their story, so nobody's even going to know that you've tagged them in your story. So this is interesting, right? So it takes the wall post that was all the fancy background, turns that into a card that now nobody knows how to download, and now it becomes a private message between me and you, so nobody can even see that I wished you a happy birthday. I don't know.
Well,
I'm unsure if this is good.
Isn't this part of their overall, plan to do more private, conversations and groups and everything else, and get less public wall?
Yep. Oh, totally. Right. This is the whole move, right? This is the whole move. I'll be shocked if the next move isn't make a private video with a birthday filter so that I can send it to you so that I look like a puppy dog panting on your birthday, Doug.
Wait, with an ad in it.
Right in the middle of it. Hold on, just wait a minute. We're going to put an ad in the middle from Doug Carr to wish Doug Carr a happy birthday.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you're the only one that watches my stories that talk to you, right? That's my challenge.
Yeah.
So, and the thing is, right, businesses don't get birthdays. This is the challenge, right? I don't know how they're going to do this for business. This is certainly something personal, which is now forcing users into the stories, but I don't know how they're ever going to do this for business. Is this happy anniversary of liking my Facebook page so that I send you a reminder, now you unlike me because you realize you really don't like me, or what?
Well, they'll make you pay for it if you're a business.
Yeah. Well, I can't buy your birthday though. That's the interesting thing, right?
Not yet.
I can't buy that. Well, yeah, maybe I can. So if you set up a public fundraiser, maybe then I get to buy your birthday. Maybe that's why they're forcing us to host fundraisers for our birthday.
Do you guys get the feeling that the more Facebook messes with Facebook, just the further they're getting from, why we loved it?
I totally do. Christian, what do you think, buddy?
I definitely think so. I mean, here's the thing. I like that they're trying to push, and again, we've talked about this on the show a lot. They're trying to push people to use stories.
Yeah.
Like why not take something that is, a sort of an insignificant feature of Facebook. I mean, it's fantastic. Love getting birthday messages, but in a way it's an insignificant feature in a way because, hey, it's something that's kind of, people are going to do it and, they're going to see how fun it is and all that sort of stuff. And then, hey, they're going to now want that in everything they do on Facebook. So I think it's a good move from that perspective. But I would love to see this work for a business, for a business to be able, for instance, a business that cares about their customers, that they learn what somebody's birthday is, and then they can actually use that to, for instance, then push the person, maybe a discount on their birthday and things like that without actually having to, ask them, well, hey, can you fill out this survey and give me your date of birth while you're at it.
Christian, I totally predict that campaign is forthcoming.
Yes.
Yeah. Totally. I totally agree. But I got to tell you, that's the worst gift for anybody on their birthday. Hey, happy birthday, Christian. Come spend money with me. Yeah. I'm going to give you 50% off of garbage because, you're going to go out to dinner for your birthday. So why not go out to dinner with this guy? In fact, if you're really nice to me, I'm going to let you even buy my dinner. Happy birthday, Christian. Yeah. What the hell, dude? Come on. Right? That sucks, man. That's terrible. That is the worst birthday thing ever. What I would like to see is, give me maybe a free appetizer, or better yet, here we go. So on your birthday, I'm going to give you a free colonoscopy. That's what I'm talking about. We're going to roto-roo your poop shoot for your birthday. I don't know. If anybody's looking for that, just let us know, and I'm sure we can find a colonoscopist. Is that how you pronounce it? Do that for your birthday. What do you think?
Guys, I just didn't know that poop was on the allowed word list before this.
Oh, everything is on the allowed word list. We are anything but NC-17. I just want to be clear. So, yep.
So here's the other thing though. I could also see this being useful for Facebook portal. Facebook's hardware.
Oh yeah.
This could be a very nice little tie-in. So for example, you could quickly, maybe they have a tie-in where you can actually record that through Portal and have it go into this. That would be a pretty sweet setup to drive more hardware sales and to also, encourage people to be a little more, fun with some of the posts they're doing.
Yeah.
You guys are totally right. I mean, it comes down to what they're actually going to be using this for. Not every business, needs to know when your birthday is to give you a coupon that maybe you're not necessarily going to use. But
I just want to apologize to you guys in person for those coupons that I sent you on your birthdays.
Oh, I used it though. I sent it out to all my friends, and I just want you to know, if you go to dknewmedia.com, you can get those free colonoscopy checkups. Doug actually will pull his head out of his own ass and put up yours just for your birthday. Totally free. Will cost you nothing.
And I have my special glasses just to.
You do.
Yeah.
Is that Robert Scoble or Douglas Carr?
Oh, geez, don't insult me. Come on.
Oh, well, just no video in the shower, please, Doug.
Yeah. Well, there's no interns here to maim. Sorry.
That's true.
Oh.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Oh, did we say that out loud? Okay. So moving forward, Christian, anything more on this, or we want to move on?
Nothing more really. I mean, I would love to see businesses have the ability to tie this into some of their products that they're offering, and again, I mean, you leave it up to the business to make the decision on whether it's the right thing to do, but I'd love to see them have a tie into this. Because it gets them out of having to complete a survey and all that sort of stuff to learn more about you.
Well, I think so too. I agree, Christian, and I think that one of the things that really frustrates me with Facebook has been, kind of the paywall that they've put in between consumers and businesses that consumers voluntarily followed and liked and everything else, and then businesses really invested a lot to create and nurture that relationship. And it seems like over time, Facebook has just shoved themselves in between more and more and more. And it's unfortunate. I don't mind paying for advertising. Don't get me wrong, but I do believe that there's an organic aspect of, between the brands and the consumers that consumers actually appreciated for a long time that Facebook kind of ripped out. And so if they add, some tools like that back in, it would be really nice, because I think that separation of, church and state or whatever hasn't done, society, very well.
Yeah,
definitely.
Good point.
So we got Facebook birthday stories. Again, this is a feature that should be actually rolled out to everyone. If you don't have it, so actually it should be. It's launched globally. If you don't have it, be sure you update your Facebook app to the latest version. This way, you'll get access to the birthday stories feature. So
one note about that. Hold on, one quick note, and that is, if your friend doesn't have Facebook Messenger, you can't send them a message this way. So just one note. So if you see it and you're like, oh, well, some of my friends do and some of my friends don't, it's not a glitch. It's because you need to, what do you think, invite your friends to Messenger so that you can start moving them more and more private. So just know that's why that's there. Because I saw that the first time, I'm like, hey, what's this? And then I look, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's my friend who doesn't even have a smartphone. So I got it, right? So just something to be aware of, that is that you do need to have Messenger installed and configured to do that. Though you could go to messenger.com and authorize the app that way and never download it to your phone. So it's something for people to know. Yeah.
So second topic for the week.
Live. Facebook Live changes. Come on now. This is really important. This is so that people don't do some horrific stuff on Facebook Live. This is beyond the snarky shit that you and I were doing before, Doug. Yeah. This is really to stop people from broadcasting shootings in a mosque and other things that are just horrific stuff. So I think this is a big move. Now the question is, how much is going to get censored and by who? Is it self-reported, or is it, which I saw a rumor this morning from Matt Navarro on Twitter that says people are just approving everybody into a group, don't have any gates, and then people are in the group, they're posting pornographic images and then reporting the group and getting you shut down. So just be aware here, folks. We're going to start, this is the slippery slope we're going down here. we're going to see more and more where Facebook is going to be judge, jury, and executioner on what is right and what is wrong in Facebook Live. It'd be interesting.
What really bothers me with not bothers me is I really do believe that they have to be careful when they start curating content. They're changing from a platform, a communication platform, into actually modifying how we're speaking in society. If AT&T were to shut off your phone for the conversation you were having in the 1980s, there would have been riots. But I do think there's an opportunity here, and I don't understand. Facebook is absolutely brilliant at utilizing machine learning, doing facial recognition, and everything else. And I'm still surprised that they can't do things like maybe AI detects it or somebody reports it, and it instantly just says, "Hey, we're going to put a 10-second delay. Stand by, please." And then the delay gives maybe that passes through another layer of filters or human interaction or something like that, to check what's happening online. But I don't like the one strike you're out kind of thing, because people abuse that just as much as they abuse the the Facebook Live. Is I don't know how many times Phil knows me, I'm pretty wide open online, but I've been reported a ton of times. Now, every single time they've looked at it and let it go and said, no, he wasn't being the jerk that, you say he was being. But there's a lot of people out there that just jump on the bandwagon and they say, well, hey, if 100 of us report this person, we'll get him kicked off or stopped or whatever. And there's as much abuse on the anti, policies as there are on the realistic ones.
Yep, totally agree. Christian, what are you thinking?
Well, so do you think this is a harsh enough penalty? So, for example, basically, it's a one strike rule. Facebook will obviously, like, if you violate their community standards or on live or elsewhere, basically, they'll take it down. And what do? They ban you for 30 days, and then you can come back. I mean, do you guys think that's
harsh enough? Absolutely, right. I mean, if let's talk like real stuff, not the extremes, right? The extremes, of course, this isn't enough.
Yeah,
right. There's never going to be enough, right? If you broadcast a beheading, you should be kicked off this planet. Right. Forget about Facebook, right?
Amen.
But the middle, the rest of us, right? Let's talk about the 80% of us that are not doing anything dumb, but still manage to tick people off because they don't agree with us, because we have the hyper-vigilant right and the hyper-vigilant left that seem to fight against those of us normal people in the middle. Yeah. So is this enough? Absolutely. Is it potentially too much? Absolutely. But the problem is you have to start somewhere. So I applaud Facebook for giving some sort of control. My only question, and here's the challenge. They're going to go machine learning, and all of us realize that machine learning is only as smart as the humans behind it. Yeah. And humans inherently are lazy. They're looking for shortcuts. So if they see the word flibbertigibbet, and that's the key word, and they take that totally out of context, and that somehow started 100 people that didn't like the fact that I mentioned that Doug Carr's got a beautiful shirt on today, people are going to riot. And that's the problem, right? We're now potentially inciting a mob just to get people that we don't agree with off of a platform.
Well, and that's my biggest concern, is that people will utilize this and abuse this policy in the reverse. And that's the weird thing to me is, Facebook, Twitter, I really hate that they're starting to get their fingers in the pie, because they have all of the tools. They have reporting tools, they have blocking tools, muting tools. You know what? If someone has a channel that's horrid, block it. Don't follow it. Get out.
Right.
And I really hate the fact that we're living in this, life where, and the mob is getting a part of this. You know it, Phil. I see it on Facebook. Yeah. I see it on Twitter all the time, where
all the time
someone will literally have a tweet that says report this tweet. and
Yep.
they get their thousands of followers to report it, get that person blocked, thrown off, sometimes suspended for 30 days, and it was really for nothing, and that's my, I feel like they're not talking about the abuse aspect of this enough. They're talking about, obviously, I think you're right, the people that are doing crimes online. Guess what? We have laws for that. And so they have every right to kick those people off and everything else and report them to the authorities. But them trying to be their own police and investigate themselves and everything else, it's just not working.
Yeah. Well, it can't work. That's the thing, right? That doesn't scale. That's not their job. Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn are not the police.
Right.
They don't have those tools, nor do they have any sort of judiciary discretion
Right.
other than an escalation point. So absolutely report. That's great. I think every platform should have report,
Yep.
block, and not to mention, we should be really stricter about the age requirements, some of those things, right? I mean, parents, if you're listening to this and you're thinking, what's he talking about? Here's the thing. If you lied to get your kids on Facebook before they're 13, if you lied to get your kids an Instagram account or to sign up for a Gmail account before the age of consent, you are the problem.
Yeah.
Not the platform. You're the problem. Your 7-year-old should not have a smartphone that can access Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn and YouTube and have a Gmail account. Just should not happen. So therefore, if that's the case, and I firmly believe it is, come at me if you think it's not, but if that's the case, if you absolved yourself of parental rights, taught your kids it's okay to lie to get to what you want, and then you wonder why people are doing this stuff, well, we got other problems here, right? This is a societal problem, but let the police do what the police do. Let the authorities do what the authorities do, and stop expecting platforms to make you feel warm and fuzzy when they're here to make money.
Amen.
And here's the thing. I mean, you guys bring up some fantastic points for, business, or for anyone that's trying to use live. I mean, again, this is again, it's a step that has to be taken to, curb abuse for Facebook Live. But it also, it starts with education. I mean, you have to know like what you're actually pushing. This also will affect people, for instance, like people that are taking snippets of videos and reposting them. If it's something that's been removed, that's something else that can also cause some issues to you using Facebook Live. They're also looking at making restrictions for running Facebook ads. So I like the fact that they're going to do that. Other thing, though, that I think is really important here, as far as these restrictions, I mean, Facebook just need, the bottom line is if you're doing the things that you're not supposed to be doing, and chances are you're not watching the show if you're not if you're that person, you just have to if you're doing it right now as a business, just follow the rules. What do they say?
Personal responsibility, right?
Yeah, yep, that's right.
Run your business in the right way. For example, if you're like if you're let's see, if you're a retail business, for example, you're a restaurant, there should be no way that your Facebook Lives get blocked because you're trying to sell products. You're trying to run a business. You're not, don't get yourself involved in all of the things that get you away from running your business.
Yeah.
If you're in a controversial business, for example, a lot. Can you think of any controversial businesses, Phil, that might want to use Facebook Live?
Sure. I can talk about adult entertainment.
Okay,
right. That's a perfect example.
What else? What else? That
selling guns.
Okay,
selling guns or CBD oil, right? Any of that multi-level marketing, right? Which is always kind of because the rules are kind of gray.
Right.
But that is the problem, right? If your rules are gray in your industry, I would encourage you, though you can certainly benefit from breaking the rules. And we all know this is true. We all know those rule breakers that set their own rules, the pioneers, if you will. I get it. But build a real business. Stop trying to cheat those of us who want, because really, I want to spend money. I love to spend money. I love to give my friends money. But if you lie and you cheat and I watch people all the time. They rip other people's videos and then they put them up on LinkedIn and Twitter and Facebook because, freebooting is no big deal, right? I still gave them credit. Well, bullshit. You didn't give them credit because they didn't get your ad dollars, right? You got eyeballs and then you took advantage of those eyeballs in the next 4 posts where you basically advertised your crap. Don't do that.
I got a buddy of mine sent a great video, and please don't go out there and give this guy any views. There's a guy, if you look up like TEDx fraud, there's a guy that literally plastered the TEDx intro And then it's him standing in front of a wall talking about fraud.
Awesome.
And I'm like, this is, really, really ironic here.
Yeah. Alanis Morissette playing in the background.
Yeah.
Isn't it moronic? Don't you think?
Yeah.
That's funny. Messed up. TEDx fraud. There you go.
Yeah.
Report him to TEDx.
Yeah.
So I want to thank everybody who's joining us so far this morning, or this evening, wherever you're at. We got Katie Biller here. We got Tim San, who we had on a few weeks ago, Mario Diaz, as well as a few others. But thanks a lot for joining us for this week's show. So anything else on Facebook Live restrictions that you guys want to cover? I mean, I think we pretty much hit the nail.
They're in a tough spot. I guess I empathize with them a little bit. So
absolutely tough spot. And hey, so if you're in a tough spot, you need to make sure that you stay up on the latest social media news. Make sure that you go to socialchefs.com/daily to get your daily dose of goodness. Tough spot or not, Christian sends out great emails. It helps you grow your business with social media. So go to socialchefs.com/daily. Get out of that tough spot. Get into a better spot. We can help you. That's socialchefs.com/daily. So Doug, we're going to let this be the player's choice here. Which one do you want to talk about? You want to talk about YouTube or the other topic?
Let's talk about YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So YouTube is making it easier now. The big thing with YouTube is we all know that a 30-minute video or a 10-minute video needs to be cut up somewhere, somehow, and give us a little snippet of teaser in order for us to actually get more people to view this. But frankly, I don't have any chops, right? I'm not good at editing video. So how do we do this? Well, YouTube has got now a bumper machine, an automated way to create 6-second ads. 6 seconds, funny enough, wasn't that how long Vine was? That's kind of ironic to me, right? Talking about irony, 6-second ads, just like it automatically creates a thumbnail, automatically creates a transcript. Now it's going to create a 6-second ad. Doug, are you going to use this? What do you think?
Well, I want to take it back a step just because, talking about video, and here we are on a live streaming, event right now. And personally, the reason why I wanted to talk about YouTube is I really struggle with video. And you guys know I'm prolific at blogging and then I love podcasting. Part of that is because there's an ease of use with it, but video is a little bit different. I'm sitting here looking at you guys, and my video is a little bit bluer, and I'm, Phil's got a beautiful, he's got a great camera and he's got good lighting. Phil, you look like you're in a hotel room because you are. So I'm always conscious of video is a little bit added layer in there, and it's got to be aesthetically pleasing in addition to really getting to the point. On a podcast, I can talk about something for half an hour, and because people are sitting on a treadmill or in their car in traffic, they'll listen to the whole thing. But on video, I've got to capture people's attention. I've got to be concise. I can't bloviate. And so this bumper, I love this because I think what YouTube is providing people isn't just a tool, maybe to produce an ad, but it's really helping people to kind of focus and concentrate and say, look, if you can't concisely say, put a teaser in 6 seconds, maybe you need to re-practice, your video strategy. And that's why I struggle with video, is because I like to bloviate and I like to go on and I like to write on and on. And so a lot of times a video that I do, and I'm thinking, man, I'm just going to do a 20-second video on this. And 2 minutes later, I'm going, this is the most boring crap in the world. Why am I doing this? And so I've abandoned video a dozen times because I'm just not that great at the strategy. And so maybe tools like this will really help us, hone in our own, video, methodologies.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, Doug. I think 6 seconds, though, you got to get to the point quick, man.
Yes.
6 seconds. So if we think about that, that's not enough time to even say, go to socialchefs.com/daily. But it is enough time to say, hey, on the show, we've got Douglas Carr, and we're going to be talking about Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Join us at 11:30 p.m. Eastern.
Perfect.
That's it, right?
Yeah.
That's all we got. So to that point, I think as they go 6 seconds, more and more, this is going to be the Twitter of video, Doug. This could be a really big deal.
Yeah.
Right? Because I get you. It's easy to go on and on, but as we think about it, I thought Twitter was hard too when I started using it. Well, now, dude, Twitter is the jam, right? I mean, and I say that knowing that, I don't use Twitter like I once did, but for a long time there, I was very concise in my stuff and had to be tighter. I don't know. Christian, are you going to use this? Do you think this is big for you?
So here's the thing. I think that the value here, and this is the hardest part for people to grasp, is that it's actually going to help you get better at telling your story. So you have to kind of, here's the thing. We do our social snacks videos, for example. Those are 5-minute or less social media tutorials that we create. We try to make them, we make the video as long as it needs to be to tell the story. But we also look at the data. We say, hey, you know what? The data is saying, well, hey, you know what? 5 minutes is too long. It should be like 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So we look at drop off and things like that. So I think the 6 seconds is a good way to get people to be creative and to think, can I tell my story in 6 seconds? For example, I was actually just trying to find it, but Audi has this brilliant example, and they had a YouTube ad that they created. I mentioned this on the show before. They had a YouTube ad that they created, and it ran before somebody's video. And it was, here's basically what it was. It was advertising like the Audi, like, which one was it? I think it was the TT maybe, but, or maybe their higher end one. And it was advertising how fast the car goes from 0 to 60 in like 3.6 seconds was the length of the YouTube ad. So it was brilliant.
Yeah.
Because, hey, it told the story of the vehicle. It takes, it's a vehicle that's X amount of seconds. So it was a smart way for people to do that. So I think that it can help people, but I think from, as Doug mentioned, I mean, running ads that are 6 seconds, it's hard for people to create that.
Well, and you don't have to tell a story though. Hold on, let me be really clear. The goal is to pique interest, right? This is like an opener, right? I train salespeople all day. This is what I do. And the goal with the first tease is 6 seconds, bang, get interested, right? Make me interested enough that I care that I'll listen to your 3 minutes. Because 6, right? And I think of it as 6 inches gives me a foot gives me a yard gives me a mile. If I can have a mile with you, right, a half an hour, I can likely share enough. But if you don't earn my trust in 6 seconds, I'm not going anywhere. So, Doug, I'm sorry, buddy, you were going to say something.
No, that was a great lead into what I was going to say, because one of the things that really bothers me that a lot of gurus talk about nowadays on the internet is the lack of attention span, which is total BS. And I'll give you a perfect example. You'll watch the intro to a show on HBO, and then you'll be sitting there, standing by for an entire season, or you'll binge on Netflix or whatever. There's no difference in a lack of attention span with consumers or businesses. But what we have is choice. We have incredible choices. So I can watch 1,000 shows on Netflix. So you've got to capture my attention at the beginning. And I don't think this behavior is anything unlike the web right now too. Is if I'm writing a page for a client, what I want to do is I want to capture their attention up front. So I want to have some good headlines and everything else in my text. And then I want to go into greater detail, and then I want to have visuals, and eventually I really want, them to scroll through an entire page that might be 1,200 words, but telling people, well, you got to write it in 200 words, otherwise people aren't paying attention. It's just crap, because we will sit there and we will binge and read and listen for as long as it takes us. Christian said it perfectly, as long as it takes us to tell that story, but no more, right? And so I think, again, this is tackling consumer and behavior where we have choices. We can go anywhere. I don't have to listen to the show. So if you don't capture my attention in the first, second, and then, help me explain it throughout and make it of value to me, I'm going to leave. But it's not that my attention span's short. That's just total BS. My attention span, I am all in on listening to these shows and watching these shows and reading these articles. It's just that you have to capture my attention up front. I have to know that it's going to be worthwhile for me.
Yeah, my attention span for crap is 6 seconds.
Exactly.
But that's the thing. And I would say that's totally true, but that's the whole power of choice. You made a great point there, Doug.
Yeah.
I have 57 channels and nothing on, right? Was that Bruce Springsteen, I think, had a song about that, or maybe it was Dire Straits, right? 57 channels, nothing on. Well, now I've got 57 million channels or billion channels. If we really think about the internet, I can go anywhere I want. So why should I choose you? And if it's all about you and all it is a 6-second ad that you just stretched out over a month or a week or a season, or your store is all about you, or your LinkedIn profile, you rewrote it such that it is all about you and not about your ideal customer. Well, now, of course, I don't care. So you have just taken my 6 seconds, which I'm willing to give you.
Yep.
I give you a chance, but then you never earn a foot.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Then we blame that on consumer behavior, negative. We blame that on lazy people. To your point earlier, Doug, people who felt like they earned Facebook likes by begging for them or having crappy Facebook like contests. And now we wonder why we have to pay to cut through the noise.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, to go back to this feature, I think it's a great feature that is going to help us as marketers focus our attention and say, you know what, if I can't say it in the first 6 seconds, if I can't tell people what the value I'm going to bring them in this half-hour video, then maybe I shouldn't do the video.
That's right. Absolutely. Yep. If you can't hook me, then you shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really the case. Now, that being said, we do have some instructional videos. Instructional videos sometimes can go longer, but just understand that's for a much smaller subset of your audience.
But again,
right?
Even in an instructional video, right? If I do a search and it says, I'm going to show you how to do this, that's the grab.
There you go. That's a good point. Yep.
Yeah. And
really
so you told me the value that you're going to bring. So I will spend 2 hours, watching how to refinish a table.
Yeah. Well, and to that point, the goal then is not to go viral, but to overserve those who really need it.
Perfect.
That's the important thing, right? Because you're not going to get 1 million views on how to refinish a table, because 1 million views on how to refinish a table, Doug, I'm never going to refinish a table. But if I watch that video and I think, wow, this is so great that I've got to share it, it's because it entertained me, not because it instructed me, because I'm never going to do that. Yeah. And I'm not the right audience, right? I'm the guy who goes to Home Depot that I don't know the difference between a screw and a nut, right? That's me. I'm just saying, man, I'm about as handy as a 3-peckered billy goat. So I'm wrong audience. But if I share that to my folks, right, I probably have people like you, Doug, who are handy, who can do some of this stuff. So yeah, I don't know. Lots of stuff there. Christian, you get the last word.
Well, so I got a couple of things. I want to bring up Katie Miller's, question she had here in the comments. I don't know if you guys saw that, Phil.
Oh, yeah.
Chat and IG stories help people learn to tell a story, a short to the point story as well, especially if the time is taken to stay within each 10 or 15 second snap. Definitely. What do you guys
Katie? Yeah, and right on the money.
And Katie, it's why I struggle at it. If you guys follow me, I rarely tell stories, and I struggle. So I want other people to know that too, that, I help my clients with this and help develop these strategies for them. But personally, I really struggle with not going on forever.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing also, by the way, speaking of this, Snapchat, Instagram, yes, they do help you do that. And that's actually something that's also mentioned in the article, which is if you're a creative person, and we have to kind of look at this, they should probably preface this with, if you're a creative filmmaker, for example, you like constraints on things. If somebody says, hey, you have, 3 days, you have 24 hours, for instance, to turn around this video project, they like that challenge.
Yeah.
I think where it gets to be very interesting because, you have the people that are professional filmmakers and you have the people that are using the tools that are typically, in a lot of cases, professional tools, but they're not necessarily professional video, for filmmakers, for example. So I think you got you're trying to fit a different type of person into that slot.
Well, it's people who use stories. I'm a stories user. Like, you follow me on Instagram, I use stories, but I'm not a storyteller on Instagram because I don't frankly, I don't think about my whole day and then plan my snaps around it. That's the difference, right? Because frankly, if I were to think about my whole day, I'd be like, I'm not that interesting. Why would you even look at that? But certain things are. So if you look at Phil Gerb on Instagram, you'll see I use stories, but seldom do I actually tell a story. Like, it's not coherent. It's just random stuff that kind of inspires me. But that's kind of what gets my day going, is random stuff like that. Very different.
One thing I want to add here, just advice for everybody too, and this is what I need to do as well, is I follow there's a guy, you should all follow him, Demian Ross. He did a road to 1,000 videos. So he forced himself every single day, and I think he's about halfway through, maybe even more. And they're brilliant videos. But if you watch the evolution of when he first started to now, it's incredible seeing the transformation. And talk about a guy that in the first second he captures your interest, and then he talks about it, and then he even has a little bit of bloopers and after reel that's amazing. And I think one of the takeaways that I learned from him was he really struggled up front, with getting his format and getting that discipline and everything else. But by forcing himself and setting a goal that, hey, every single day I'm going to put one of these out, he just got better and better at it. And that would be my advice. And it's what I want to do personally as well, is if you want to take on stories and you want to take on this 6-second, hey, do it every single day. And don't worry about the crap that you put out at first. You'll get better over time.
First.
Yep, the great thing about stories, right? It's gone.
Yep, that's right. That's a really great point. So practice, get better, shoot 1,000 of them. I mean, our show is probably a little stronger now than it was 100 episodes ago. That's just natural. So do improve, but do jump in. I would say practice, get used to it. Tell 15 seconds, even if you can't tell the whole tale. Try to tell 15 seconds at a time that gets you interested. Because if you'll watch your own stuff, your audience probably will too.
And I have 2 more things real quick. So one of those, I want to bring up a comment from April Roga here. So April says, hey, it becomes easier to tell your story when you focus on who you are and not what you do. I think that's where many are stuck in the live streaming space.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Nobody cares what you do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They want to know
Thank you, April.
How can it help them?
Well, and I, that's I'm struggling with a client right now that's what they keep doing. They keep going into every sales presentation and say, we can fix A, B, and C. We can fix A, B, and C. We can fix A, B, and C. And the problem in sales, Phil knows this firsthand, is people don't care about the solution. They're worrying about whether they can trust you. Mm-hmm. They're worrying about if they put money into your hands, are you someone that's going to take care of them? And so this whole, we talked about trust earlier online and everything else. And it's just a brilliant comment, because if you reveal who you are, sense of humor, mistakes that you've made, how you've overcome them, all of this vulnerability and everything else, what you're doing is building that trust with people. Other people will build your authority, right? I'll talk about Christian and Phil all day and talk about, hey, you know what? If you need this type of consulting, if you really want to improve your, social media presence, if you really want to improve your sales presence, these are the guys to talk to. I'm doing that for you. I'm talking about what you do. But when you talk to these people, you really have to reveal who you are as a person, because the only bridge that you have to basically get through is the trust bridge. And so that's a brilliant comment. I'm so glad that she said that.
And then the second thing I want to do is I just want to show everyone a quick example of the bumper machine. So for example, of a 6-second version that was created. The thing to also keep in mind, I don't think we've actually mentioned this, is that YouTube bumper ads are using artificial intelligence. So what they're going to do is they're going to take your video, they're going to create a 6-second ad off of it based on, for instance, maybe they're going to pick a shot where the logo is very visible. They're going to pick a shot where maybe it's a good close-up of you and so forth to put together this 6-second ad. And again,
God.
I realize he desired.
So it's the... For 6 seconds. Hold there. Okay, Christian, show us the clip.
It's the colonoscopy scene.
That's it.
So here we go. We'll play the 6-second video for you. So that's it.
Wow.
Yep. So
that was completely useless. Fantastic. I mean, really, that didn't give me anything. That didn't give me anything. What is Grubhub? Is that where I go to meet girls? What is this? That's terrible. I don't want to see that crap. If that doesn't
but Phil,
oh
you're
my
missing.
God.
But it's AI and machine learning. It'll get better over time.
No, I know. I'm just saying, right? So I'm with you. No, Christian, that's super helpful though to see what that looks like for folks. So if you were wondering like what that was, if you're just listening to this in the background, know that it was a quick little thing and then it dissolved to the Grubhub logo.
I did like that they did that. I did
too, right?
I did like that they incorporated the logo in it.
Which tells me we need to really be cognizant of adding end cards to the end of our videos.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because otherwise, what's it going to focus on? It's going to focus on, again, me.
Right.
Like that. Because that's what it thinks, right?
Or me with my itchy ear then.
That's right. Yeah. Yep. Or I just pick my nose or something, right? Like, hey, look at that shot.
And
Roto-Rooter Gerbachak.
Another thing you also have to watch out for. So, for example, if you're creating these 6-second bumper ads, you want to make sure, and we've talked about this earlier, you want to make sure you're filming your videos in high quality. So, for example, you're using a high quality webcam. If, for instance, if you're trying to use the one on your laptop, hey, it's very low quality. Invest in a better webcam, and that will actually help you record better quality video so that when your ads are created, they look high quality, they look very professional, they look slick and whatnot.
Or do it on your phone, right?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, right? Like today, I'm on my iPhone X, right? On my iPhone 10, works just fine as a HD camera.
Yeah.
The HP laptop, which I love, wonderful for travel, weighs less than 3 pounds, fantastic. But the camera is like 480p. It's like from 1997. I mean, I don't get that, but that's also why, right? I travel with my MacBook.
Wait, what kind of laptop do you have?
Oh, I'm sorry. I said HP, but I really meant I also have a Dell at home there, Mr. Douglas. So yeah. So if you sent me another Dell, I would use it more. I'm just saying. So I'm happy to be a pimp that way. So free laptops get used. I've got Otter.ai gear that I wear all the time too. So yeah. So cool. Well, hey folks, so if you're loving the show, we had more topics, but we're going to move on to tool time. So you want to sign up though. Make sure you get all the good stuff. We've got other stuff we could have covered today. So go to socialchefs.com/daily, get the daily dose of goodness, get the recap, get connected with Doug, with Christian and myself, and learn more each day. So that's socialchefs.com/daily. So you can get all the daily goodness. So it's now time for tool time. And if you don't know Doug is a master of marketing tech. He's someone that I look up to. So we had to work hard to come up with some tools that we thought, maybe Doug hasn't used these before.
Uh-oh.
Maybe he has. Yeah. So we did give you a preview though. So the first one is Luminary. It's a premium podcast app. Mr. Carr, have you played with Luminary?
I have not.
So it is, of course, at this point, we're showing off the Apple one because people that have inferior operating systems we really don't like as friends. And so what this does is Luminary has, first of all, it also has its own original podcasts. So it is a network of podcasts. Remember the podcast network years ago, Doug, that Cranky Middle Manager was on and that? I think that's what Luminary is trying to be here. Much like Audible has its originals, Luminary has it. Now, the challenge with Luminary is that I've seen sometimes that it scrapes feeds and doesn't always give credit back to the creator.
Ooh.
But it looks like a pretty right. So, but it looks like a pretty cool app. I don't know, Christian, have you used Luminary?
I have not used it yet. I was looking at it mainly because of the fact that they want to sell premium podcasts. Basically they want to have people like Trevor Noah, and guests basically like that, basically creates a monetary stream, for an individual, whether you're an influencer or a celebrity, or possibly a brand gets into doing paid podcasts. That's mainly the part that I actually am interested in with this.
So I think this is cool.
So it sounds like they're trying to be like a Anchor in some way.
Yeah, like Anchor,
except without the tools, right?
Right. Yep, without the tools.
Yeah, and the resistance there for me, right, is that I really don't like when someone kind of owns my audience. And so that's always the resistance there is if I was going to join Luminaries and they were going to monetize my podcast, now I'm dependent upon them, and what happens next,
Yeah, I feel you there, but here's the thing, man. I think anytime we get syndicated as a content creator, if I get syndicated to Gannett, right, to Gannett News Source, and suddenly I happen to show up in USA Today, well, that's still my content, and I think if I produce good enough content there, they'll follow me back.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
If I do a good enough job in a show, right, I should be able to monetize in other ways. But audience portability, I think is less and less a concern, because I mean, truly, what am I going to do with my even my Facebook friends, right? I can't do anything with them. So I have to just kind of suck it up and be thankful that they're paying attention to me on the platform that I'm on for now, and maybe one day they'll follow me somewhere else.
Well, but you do a great job, right? You have a variety of places where people can find you. My only advice is don't put all your eggs in one basket, because
thank you.
That's all.
So what do you guys think from the concept of like charging for podcasts? Do you think that for original podcasts, do you think that that a company should charge for that? Should somebody
depends
iTunes or the other platforms that are
totally depends, right? I mean, what are you doing a podcast for? Let's start, Christian. We say this every single week, right? Strategically, why are you doing a podcast? Are you doing a podcast to get to build awareness, or are you doing a podcast to really have another product to sell?
Right.
If you're doing it for the product to sell, well, then certainly you're going to have better production value, right? You can't just have, I mean, not that we do a poor job here on the show, but we're not editing it out. We're not cutting it into segments. We're not adding music in between. We don't have, we're not always HD on the camera angle, and the sound isn't perfect. But if I'm going to pay even $5 a month for your podcast, it's got to entertain me. It's got to hook me. Every episode's got to be good, or at least 1 out of 3, because otherwise, if I'm spending money, I mean, it's so funny. People will download 1,000 free apps, but to spend $4 on word swag, I get pushback every time I speak about this. I'm going to talk about this afternoon. People are going to be like, oh, $4 for an app. Yeah. Dude, you just saved an hour and a half, you bonehead. I mean, seriously. So,
well, that's our fault, right? We educated everybody that everything's free,
Yeah. Well, it's the internet's fault, right?
Yeah.
The internet's fault. Well, and that's the change. So that's where I think it really depends, Christian, on your purpose for that. But if I was producing something great, or if I was producing something that was super valuable to a super niche audience, I mean, I know Manager Tools, for instance, one of my favorite manager podcasts of all time, has had a private RSS stream for premium podcasts for 100 years.
Nice.
And they make a lot of money with that.
Well, it seems like
they offer stuff that you can't get anywhere else.
Yeah, it seems like maybe one of the approaches to take to this is, outside the entertainment realm and in the business realm is if you put up a learning management system and charge people to see a course, maybe that's where this could come in really handy. Is that if you put a 24 episode course on improving your SEO. Well, then maybe someone might subscribe to it and pay for it, because every single week, they're going to learn something new.
Yep. Yeah. And if I can't Google the answer, I might sign up for your course, right? If it's easy to Google and there's a billion answers to it, I'm probably not going to pay for your course.
Yeah.
And kind of to April's point earlier also, which is, about knowing your customer, knowing who you're trying to reach. So for example, if you're targeting the customer that is not ever going to pay for something, and you're trying to launch paid content for a podcast, for example, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
You're going to get like, or I would say, let me phrase it. It's not going to work. It's going to be a very tough uphill battle.
Right.
And you get discouraged because you're not seeing the results. You can't snap your fingers or launch your podcast and hey, everybody's going to go check it out. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
It does take time, but that's tool number 1 for the week. Luminary podcast app. Now, tool number
good. So let's show them the second one. Yeah. What else?
Video. So this one is called Cinamaker Director. And what this one basically is it's a way for you to use an iPad as an NLE, a nonlinear editor. Basically, You probably heard about Final Cut Pro, or maybe if you're using iMovie or Adobe Premiere, it's a way for you to organize your shots. Now, when you move into live video, for example, we use StreamYard. In the background, we've got essentially an editor that we've got going on, where we've got different people we're bringing in, different banners, all that sort of stuff. Now, what Cinamaker Director does is it allows you to use your iPad as essentially the screen for the layout of your show and bringing in different cameras. Now, that's the first part. Now, the second part is they have an add-on app. It's called Cinamaker Capture, which works with your cameras, for instance, your iPhones, things like that. So if you want to have multiple cameras, you can pull them into Cinamaker Director.
Nice.
Yeah. This is so powerful. I mean, here's the thing, right? You don't have to have the 4K camera in order to use this. You could basically chain together now 6 different iPhones to make this work, which is really, really cool. Now, the question that I'm always curious about is, does this make people think that they're now a movie maker, or would they still pay a professional? Because I got to tell you, my guys at Forever Productions do a great job with my videos when I need something super directed, super produced, overdone, right? A little bit, not just alive. So I just worry, because these make these so easy, that some people think this replaces a professional. And what I would tell you is, this is for those in-between videos that are a little bit better than live, or a little bit better than the hold your phone up and talk to it, or set your phone up on a tripod, but yet are not as high speed as the powerful stuff that you need in order to really affect change with people.
Yeah, I agree. I used like Switcher Studio, I think, is probably a competitor of this, and it was still, you still had to kind of pre-think and set everything up and set up your screens and set up your camera angles and lighting and everything else. So there was still a lot of outward, work that needed done. But the goal was to take a video that we had already, had a series of, and just enhance it and make it look a little bit more professional. And I think that's where I'm excited about these stuff, because I think it is, one of those things where you can really, kind of upgrade your presence. If your quality is already there and your message is already there, now it's, you can take it to the next level on from a look and feel standpoint.
Yeah, definitely. And I've dropped the links to both of these in the comments for this week's live video. You've got Cinamaker Director and then the capture portion for adding the cameras in.
Too cool.
As far as the price, actually, let me get the price real quick, because, granted, you are going to have a cost with this, and it's not going to be, it's not going to be you're not going to get a free app. You're going to get a free app to download, for instance, but, you're going to obviously have some limitations there.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind. But again, you also get what you pay for. If your show doesn't have quality writing, and this is important. So if you don't have quality writing, for instance, people writing, scripting out your show, for example, and you're just like, hey, I'm going to go live and it's going to just blow up and do really great things. It's not going to, obviously it's not, but you have to put a lot more effort into it than just say, I'm starting my camera and I'm going to start talking.
Yeah.
A lot that goes on behind the scenes, I think, as both of you alluded to, it's not just like, hey, fire my camera up and we're live.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm tired of those.
You got to get your screens, your scenes ready. I think Phil said, actually, Phil, are you saying something?
Oh, Phil, we can't hear you, Phil.
Here, Phil. Are you planning okay, let's see. He's just muting it. What Phil has to say. But basically, if you're going to use, a live app and you want to, have everything organized, you have to plan out the screenshots.
You do.
Be something as simple as, if you've got a whiteboard, draw out your scenes. If you get note cards, plan out each note card, put a little number in the bottom of the corner once you're sure that's exactly what you need. It could be, for example, intro graphic, outro graphic, chop it up and put all of the different scenes of what you want to bring in, but there's work that goes into it.
Well, and Christian, I think even this show, right? You're doing transitions, you're bringing up the social comments, you're going back and forth between screens, and that requires a ton of focus, because you're paying attention to the conversation right now, as well as doing all those changes. And so when we were doing it with Switcher Studio, I actually had a guy that he was on the editing side, because I couldn't do it. I couldn't sit there and look at the the iPad, stay in the conversation and everything else. It was just too difficult. I'm a little bit thick that way.
Well,
no, it takes time, man. It's harder to do for sure, Doug. I mean, that's the thing. It is harder to do. It takes practice. And that's where, if you don't script it out ahead of time, if we didn't know the tool time is going to come up at about minute 45, 48, right? We would have no clue here. If we didn't know that we're going to spend the first 10 minutes talking to you and then 30 minutes talking about 3 to 4 topics, it's way harder, man. But that's where practice helps. And if you can't do it, like, hire someone, right? So this is stuff, I do this, right? Doug, I know you do this. Christian does this, right? Ross Brand. Think about, if I don't have the talent in house, perhaps I can hire this out so that we can script out a show.
That's
right?
it.
So don't be afraid to invest.
That's
it happen, because it can make a difference.
And I got a kid that was, he went to Taylor University. He was a cinematography guy. He did the live studio stuff at the university, which was premium tools, right?
Yep.
But when I handed him that iPad, he was like, "Oh, this is cool." And he just sat there the whole show, switch screenshots, brought in graphics and everything else. And I was like, oh my God, and it was because he was professionally trained on it and inexpensive. Absolutely.
Definitely. And like I said, I mean, you guys, I think both alluded to this earlier. I mean, for example, like the price of this, they sell hardware kits. So they sell, for example, adapters that will connect your iPad to high-end equipment. So they've got hardware kits as well. Some that are basically doing 100 megabit Ethernet cables and USB to Lightning adapters. So that's going to plug in your iPad. So like they've got fantastic, you can scale this up basically. That's the key thing to keep in mind.
Which is really critical, I'd say, because if you're doing a live event remote, I've tried it before and failed miserably, where we were going to do a live event and we were going to go on a hotspot. So we set up a mini router with our own little network, and it failed miserably because the bandwidth clogging and everything else was just horrid. And so it's really good that they're in the hardware business as well, because that's where you'll have problems with multi-camera, live events.
Great point.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
So that does it for this week's show. Like, as far as the tools, we've got Luminary, we've got Cinamaker Director with the companion Cinamaker Capture app. I'd recommend, for instance, if you have an iPad, download it. See what it's like. Again, it's also about testing. I mean, we were talking about this behind the scenes, Doug and I, Phil, when we were trying to bring you on, and everything's about testing. Like, we started the show quite a number of years ago, and it's been an evolution. I mean, if you look at where we started, the show rambled on and on and on a lot of times. And we've slowly been, we whittle it down to where, like, we get just the right content there, how many topics do we put in, and so forth. So there's work that goes into live streaming.
Until you got Doug on the show, that babbling asshole,
Not at all. Not at all, Doug. Fantastic. Dude, we're right on time as expected, right? We're right at an hour, which is where we want to be. So, Doug, speaking of rambling, dude, tell us all the places they can connect with you, starting with your MySpace page. Go ahead.
Yeah. Just do a search for Douglas Garr. You'll find me on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. Martech.zone is my marketing technology site. I got to give a shout out. I co-host Dell Luminaries, which is a fascinating show where we talk to, literally, these are the brains behind all of the Dell Technologies companies. And we're really getting on the bleeding edge of technology. So, but yeah, look me up, and if you need any help or whatever, you can give me a call. I just so everybody knows, I'm kind of a CMO for hire, so I portion my time out. And right now, I don't need customers, which is a really weird thing to say. But obviously, if you're a higher bidder, I'll go. But
that's it. Yeah, Martech.zone is great. Doug's got a great podcast. That Dell Luminary show is good as well. And Doug is just an overall good guy. He's got so much to share and so much to give. So definitely look him. If you're listening, it's Carr, Karr, like the car on Knight Rider. That was the evil twin of Knight Rider.
Yes!
Of course.
Yes!
So, see, I know that. So,
woohoo!
Yeah. So, Christian, what you got, buddy?
So I just want to say, it's been a pleasure having you on. I want to thank everybody who spent just the past hour with us, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube or checking us out on the blog. We will have a blog post recap going out tomorrow with all of the updates we talked about. We also had an Instagram shop update as well that we wanted to discuss, as well as some other items, but that will go in the blog post recap. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. I dropped a link to Doug to your Twitter profile in the comments. If you want to go in and add any other links, feel free to do that as well. And make sure you guys connect with them, again. And it's also about connecting with people because, for example, as Phil mentioned, and Doug mentioned, like if there's certain tasks that you're like, hey, I want to do this and I need some help with it. Don't be afraid to reach out to a lot of people, especially us. I mean, a lot of times people say, well, hey, that person's never going to talk to me. They've got, 23,000 Twitter followers. They're never going to talk to me.
Not true.
Love it when you do that.
Well, I always tell people that so many people helped me build my business that I feel absolutely indebted, to give back. And sometimes time is the issue there. And sometimes I'm not instantly responsive, but I really do want to help other people.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
So keep that in mind. And that's the other thing to also kind of keep in mind with like who you connect with. Like if you try connecting with someone, hey, they don't respond to you. Maybe I actually want to connect with someone else who actually does want to have conversations and get to know more people versus somebody who really just, doesn't have the time of day to reach out to me. So
totally agree.
Yeah. So we're going to be, let's see, next week we've got Jim Fuse on. He's part of the Tim and Jem show as well. So we're going to have him on next week, next Thursday. We're still setting the time, but we will let everyone know. But thanks a lot for joining us this week, Doug. Absolute blast. Phil.
Thank you. This was fantastic.
Woohoo! Gotta love technology. Thank you, StreamYard, for making it work on mobile. Making me really happy.
I give that props. So thanks a lot for joining, everyone. We'll see you next week. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.